No? And he was saying, it's not saying that everything is all right already, but at least the most important thing, after their prayer, he said, after many years, they have seen how Germany has been cleared by the Lord. So amuna, that is how we should be. There are protocols in the courtroom of heaven, like the natural court. Okay, let's go to the basics. The first place of intercession should always be in the courtroom of heaven. It is there that we must first win our verdicts before going out to win on the battlefield. No. What do you mean when you say the first place of intercession should be in the courtroom of heaven? Amo ni ay, when you're praying, especially desperate prayers, let's take personal prayer. Whom of you here are praying for your children? Sometimes we have a problem ng mga child, di ba la? When you are a parent, you are desperate in praying for that. So what do you do? What do you do? There was a story in the book, the same guy, Robert Henderson. He was sharing about his daughter. His daughter fell into a bad relationship, and she got pregnant. Okay? So when she got pregnant, of course, the boyfriend left her. So she brought up the child by herself. Okay? After 5 years, the biological father came back and wanted legal rights. In the States, it's called visitation rights. The daughter did not want because the ex-boyfriend, was an ex-convict now. So she did not want. Okay. So the family was in dire need. What do? So they went to court, they hired a lawyer. The father, Robert, he said, on the morning of the hearing, he said, I asked God if I can go up to the courts of heaven. He asked God, Lord, can I plead for my daughter and for my granddaughter? He said, after many hours of prayer, the Lord granted him to go up. So he went up. He went up. Sila niya, I thought I was there a very, very long time. But it only took 15 minutes before the legal right was granted to me. So he confessed the sin of his daughter. He confessed all the sins of the family. So abi niya, okay na. Then the Lord told him, this is very important, the Lord told him, confess the words that you have spoken against the ex-boyfriend. So he asked forgiveness from the Lord. Siyempre, amay ka, you are a father, and in the midst of the problem, you say words. And the Lord told him, you should not have spoken those unwanted words because they are weapons of the enemy against your daughter. So he pleaded with God. He presented his evidence and everything. So he said, after that, the Lord told him, okay, your prayers are granted. So he just kept quiet. He was praying the whole day. Then he said, after 2 hours, his daughter called him. Dad, you will not believe what happened in the court. The ex-boyfriend was there, the daughter was there, the lawyers were there, and the judge said, today, I am going to rule according to what the mother of that child wants. Have you heard a judge says that? Kabati kamo judge masilinga, marol ko kung anong gusto ni Nimrod, amo nang aton di final decision. The lawyer of the daughter, pulled the daughter out and told her, this has never happened in the history of America, that a judge will judge according to what you want. But that is how the courts of heaven rule. You see, you can come before, no, there is such a thing as an court of appeals where you appeal your personal prayer to the Lord. Amo nang nambalya, that's why intercession should be in the courtroom of heaven. Daugada anay. You know, we have a tendency, no, spiritual warfare na masinggitan ta sa hangin, no? I bind you kada singgit. You don't need that. You don't need that in the court of heaven. You just face the judge. Muna bala, we rush into places of prayer only to see things get worse before they get better. Because nag-spiritual warfare ka na, you created a battle with the enemy, you stir things up on a battlefield without first having established a legal precedent to be there. Ano ang imo nga right to do battle with the enemy? Anong right mo? Nga nagira ka na, wala ka pa gani armas. It's like going to war with a gun, wala ka man bullets. Timano ka da. No? Instead of wasting your time shouting to the enemy, ask God to have an appearance in the courts of heaven. So how do we approach prayer and spiritual warfare? Do we rush in? Do we shout to the devil? Do we make decrees? Do we offer up prayers, then do more to stir up demonic forces than dismantle them? Sa mga houses, sa mga families, no? Away ka mo, nag-away si Nimrod kag si Inger, no? Masiling si Inger nga, ay ginapanulay gito si Nimrod mo. No? Sige kada halab yung battle there, no? Pang-cast out kada, no? Buang kada bilong nga adlaw sa balay mo. You did not have to do that. No? Present evidence. No? First place of intercession should be in the courtroom of heaven. Okay, next. This happens because there is no legal precedent gained from the throne of God. As a result, no answers will come from heaven and we experience casualties rather than victories. The answer is to move off the battlefield and into the courtroom of heaven. Look at Revelation chapter 19, verse 11. Next, I saw heaven open, and there before me was a white horse. Sitting on it was the one called Faithful and True, and it is in righteousness that he passes judgment and goes to war. Anong una? War? Look at the last line. It is in righteousness that he passes judgment. Judgment first before you go to war. Kisa kita balis ka, di war anay. War anay, hindi na masaligan. We go back and we ask God, Lord, tinanong mayo siniman? No? Order. Judgment anay, then amo pag go to war. And that is also what Jesus does. No? Later on, we're going to see that. Okay. First, realize this, that heaven is open. That means there is revelation and things we need to discern in the heavenly realm. We should be able to pinpoint the things that needs to be dealt with and touch them with accuracy. We must be able to pray within the will of God. Heaven is open and revelation is flowing. Sometimes we say prayers, shadow ka generalize. We say prayers, masiling tanga, Lord, I pray for the destiny of the Philippines. What destiny? Hindi ta kalabot sa langit, kaya nga, asagit na ba, Lord, I pray for the destiny of the Philippines. Ano nga destiny ang ginapangayo mo? The Lord is asking. So look at 1 John chapter 5, verses 14 and 15. This is the confidence we have in His presence. If we ask anything that accords with His will, He hears us. And if we know that He hears us, whatever we ask, then we know that we have what we have asked from Him. What is important? Does it accord with His will? If it accords with His will, definitely God will answer our prayer. That is why heaven is open to revelation and discernment. This is what we need when we pray. Wait for the revelation and discern. No, discern what is His will. Anong ginahambal niya? Secondly, Yeshua judges and then makes war. He judges first. Judging is judicial activity. A decision and a verdict is rendered concerning a situation, a petition, or a prayer request. That activity is being judged, and there is a legal precedent that is being established concerning it. Out of that judicial activity which is flowing from the courts of heaven, war is made. We must learn to only make war based on judgments, decisions, and verdicts that are received out of the courts of heaven. Do not jump into the frying pan. No, discern anay, discern gid kita anay. Because if a judgment has already been rendered, a decision has already been rendered, tapos na. Nung nakadesider ng Ginoo, nahambalya na sa imo, then you can go to war with the enemy because you know the outcome already. Kabalo ka na. Magkadto ka sa court here, kung nakarender na judgment, tapos na, miski anong ambalon sang panguntra mo, kay tapos na. Kung katapos ka na sa Court of Appeal, saka ka pa sa Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court says this is final, there is nothing more. Diba? There is nothing more. So, amo man na sa aton. If you try to make war without a verdict and judgment from the court of heaven, you are going to suffer defeat and even satanic backlash because you have no legal footing to be there or be engaging in such activity. Unfortunately, there have been many believers who have been victims of spiritual warfare, and they have turned to casualty because they entered a battle that they should not be there in the first place. If we can get legal renderings concerning a situation in place, then we can march into the battlefield and win every time. So it is important to get first a legal, nga tawag sina legal precedent. Unahan na anay. Okay. Look at Luke chapter 18. You are familiar with this story. Then Yeshua told this Talmudim a parable in order to impress on them that they must always keep praying and not lose heart. In a certain town, there was a judge who neither feared God nor respected other people. There was also in that town a widow who kept coming back to him and saying, "Give me a judgment against the man who is trying to ruin me." For a long time he refused. But after a while he said to himself, "I don't fear God and I don't respect other people. But because this widow is such a nudnik, kanui sans black sabbath, I will see to it that she gets justice. Otherwise, she'll keep coming and pestering me till she wears me out." Then the Lord commented, "Notice what this corrupt judge says. Now, won't God grant justice to His chosen people who cry out to Him day and night? Is He delaying long over them? I tell you that He will judge in their favor and quickly. But when the Son of Man comes, will He find distrust on the earth at all?" Jesus spoke this parable to make people understand of the courts of heaven. Ginpaintindihan ni. They thought it was just a parable. It is not just a parable. It is true. Lantawa bala, the widow did not even face her enemy. She went to the judge. Dito saya nagkuha sang iya legal right sa judge, pabayid ang kontra ko, diri ko ya makuha sang legal right ko. Yeshua never prayed on a battlefield. He placed it in a courtroom or a judicial setting. If the widow could get an answer and a verdict from an unjust judge through her persistent activity in a court, how much more shall we gain answers as the elect of God before the righteous